Warren, we got a couple of viewer questions, actually several of them, but I want to bring two up right now about BYD, since Carl mentioned this in his introduction to that question. Ray from Westminster, Maryland writes in. He says, everyone seems to be aware of your investment in BYD. That's the Chinese electric car company. The stock's deteriorated of late, and I can't seem to get a handle on the firm's profitability. Are they trying to compete on pricing only, or does their battery technology give them a clear advantage?
Well, the battery technology, if it works out like they hope it will give them a clear advantage. But battery technology is a evolving and tough game, and my partner Charlie particularly thinks that we've got the right fellow to make the breakthroughs in that area. But it isn't like you get it tomorrow or the next day. And you know, there are a lot of smart people working on battery technology, and you know, in the end, what I hope is the world gets a great answer on it very quickly. And if it says made in Japan, made in China, made in the United States, the important thing for humanity is that we get great battery technology. Now, like I say, Wang Changfu is an amazing guy. I'm impressed with him.
The gentleman who runs
BYD,
right.
and my friend Charlie, who knows a lot more about batteries than I do, thinks that this guy is the second coming, more or less. So we'll see what happens on that. It's not easy. I mean, when you're dealing with batteries, you know, the weight, the cost, there are plenty of problems involved. But I will bet significant progress is made by BYD, but there may be more significant progress made by somebody else in the next few years.
Tony in San Diego writes in and says that BYD's lost more than 60% from its peak in 2010. Do you consider buying more shares because of the current discount?
Yeah, well, who knows? Well, the one thing, you can talk about everything in my life virtually except for what we're buying or selling.
Okay, so that's a non-answer, but Joe, I know you've got another question too.
We'll always have more. Warren, I'm trying to figure out whether you, since we're on the subject of energy, it's fascinating how we're going to do this as we need more and more. And are you going to play it through utilities and not really think about what the input is for the energy? It's going to come from you're not smart enough to figure that out, or?
You've got it. You've got it. I'm not good at that. I got through physics okay in college, but that's just because I memorized the formulas. I really never knew why when you turned a little switch, lights went on or the television went on, and I still don't know. So I do not have a mind that really has any special abilities at all in terms of things physical. So I leave that to others, and I just try and figure out whether people are likely to drink more Coca-Cola next year than last year. And I can understand certain, but I mean, I can understand if you're the low-cost guy in auto insurance and people have to buy it, that you're going to do very well over time. But I am not good at insights about the future products, and I do not sit and try and figure out trends or any of that sort of thing. And I don't pay any attention to people to talk about them because I don't know enough to evaluate them myself.
Yeah, but utilities are going to be there delivering whatever it is that generates the energy, and so that's the way you're going to participate in that, because you haven't bought natural.
Fundamental.
You haven't really bought natural gas or oil in the ground or typically, right?
Not very often, no, and I don't know. The oil picture 5 years from now will be may be much more dependent on politics than whether I can pick the best geologist in the United States. And I know we'll be using more natural gas. I know it's got all kinds of advantages, and it's cheap on a BTU equivalent to oil, and it's cleaner, and all kinds of things. But in the end, the price depends on supply and demand. And even though demand will go up some, I don't know whether supply is going to go up even faster than that. And so far, it's been, in the last few years, I should say, that natural gas has been pretty disappointing. It hasn't been disappointing in terms of finding it, hasn't been disappointing in terms of its performance. It's just been there's been too much of it around, and I don't know. I'm not good at figuring out, whether that will change a year from now or 5 years from now, and I'm not in that game.
I do like your point though about batteries, and it's a tough hill to storm, but if you could take that hill and turn batteries into something other than what they are today, that has implications for solar, certainly for BYD. Would you say, Warren, that the evolution of batteries is where you are most leveraged to innovation in tech?
Well, perhaps. And Carl, you're 100% right. I mean, it's going to happen. It may happen at BYD. It may happen, with General Motors. It may happen in Japan. Lots of smart people are working on it. And it's a tough problem because you got so many smart people, and it is proving tough to get accomplished. But it's going to happen. It will happen. And I'm not the kind of a guy normally that makes a bet on who's going to make it happen. I'm just not that. I'm not that good at picking the winner in something like that. I know who's going to win in soft drinks. I know who's going to win in chewing gum. I know who's going to win in auto insurance. But that doesn't really take any great insights. My partner Charlie Munger believes very strongly that BYD is the most likely winner in this. He's got and he is a lot smarter than I am on this subject and a lot of other subjects. But that doesn't mean I'd shove all my chips out on the table just because Charlie feels that way.